I I actually saw a psychiatrist first for a little while, which is just for anyone watching that's because that was one of the things that stopped me from seeking help for a long time. Is I didn't even understand who to go to, where to go, how to do it, what it would be like. Just the mystery of what is a psychiatrist versus a therapist, what is talk therapy versus I I would not even seek help because I didn't understand it. And so a psychiatrist is for diagnosing mental health disorders and can prescribe medication. And that was where I started. And this is just makes me laugh every time I think about it. But my first psychiatrist, when I went in, you do like an evaluation. And I went in for anxiety. And so like I filled out this form kind of, and they're just assessing how anxious you are. And she's like, well, you pretty much scored the highest on every single thing. She's like, why didn't you come in sooner? And I was like, because I'm anxious. I was like, because I'm terrified to be here right now. Like, this is so scary. So it wasn't scary, though. It's just the unknown of even where to start. And therapy, though, I think everyone in the world should go to therapy. Everyone needs help dealing with life. Life is so difficult, and it is helpful, I think, to everyone. And another benefit of therapy versus, I think they serve different purposes, but the psychiatrist was able to identify the anxiety, but it was my therapist that actually diagnosed me with ADHD, because there's a level of connection you make with a therapist that is so different than with a psychiatrist. That's a doctor where you're just you're not talking experiences, and she was able to find patterns and watch me for an hour every week, and she's the one who discovered that. So it's therapy. My points are therapy is incredible. I think everyone should be in it, and just if I can get anyone to not feel scared to go get help, that is like my goal. That's why I want to talk about it, and I'm so grateful to have this because I want people to just know it's doable for everyone, and there's help.
For those that are interested in trying to figure out or trying to find one, reach out to EAP and they'll provide those resources for you.
And you know what? That just made me think of, that's such an accessible way to try it out. And the 6 sessions, that's a huge, amazing thing. But I'm even thinking right now, that could be a really not threatening, but a really easy way to even just experience therapy. And then once you kind of get that comfortability, you can seek out and then continue to do it. So like, I feel like that's beneficial in so many ways. Of the actual sessions would be so impactful, but also that's really cool that it can expose people to trying out therapy, and someone can help you. That's amazing. And one of the things I do talk about is explaining the difference between an anxiety, nerves, and an anxiety disorder, because they all exist and they're all kind of different, connected. So I talk very openly with all my students, K through 5, about my mental health, and I have an anxiety disorder. I talk to them about that, and I do it for a few reasons. One, because I realized that I'm allowed to ask for help, and I'm allowed to ask for people to accommodate me within reason, and kids can and will do that. So for a kind of selfish reason, my therapist has been working with me on getting comfortable with asking for an accommodation if I need one. And so with the kids, I will let them know, sometimes I'm going to get anxious, and that means I feel overwhelmed, and I'll kind of adjust for level. So the little kids, I'll say, I have an anxiety disorder, and I'll explain what it means. And I'll say, sometimes I'll tell you I'm feeling overwhelmed, and if you guys could just make sure that maybe I have to step away and take a breath. And, with the older kids, I'll be really honest of I get very anxious. And so if I say that, I'm going to need to, same thing, step away. And the kids can identify it sometimes now on their own. They respect it. They support me and help me. The kids will say, I can tell Miss Walker is feeling anxious. Let's quiet down and come over here. And I'm trying to make sure I don't sound cheesy, because I want it to be taken seriously. But kids are amazing, and they're magical, and they're smart, and they're capable, and they deserve our respect and our honesty. And they understand, and they're so empathetic. And kids they can understand these things. And so back to your question, when I'm talking about it and with the kids, when I really want to make sure that they understand, because when I first started talking about it, I said like anxiety disorder, and there was a learning curve of me even talking about it, because the kids were like, I'm anxious. I have a disorder. I'm like, oh, no, hold on. I was like, I'm not saying you do or don't,
Right.
but like, hold on. That's not what that means. So nerves are normal. People feel nervous about different things all the time. Anxiety is also normal. If you're about to get up and do a speech in front of thousands of people or hundreds or however many, having a certain level of anxiety or nerves in different situations is normal. And an anxiety disorder is when it's disrupting your life, when it's beyond what makes sense for the situation, or when it's like panic attacks. So like things that are like severely affecting your life in ways that are far beyond what the situation calls for. So for example, self-reflecting, because in the moment I didn't see it as weird, but crying and wanting to cancel plans with friends or even family members, I'm not even kidding, that's happened. That's beyond what you should probably feel. Panic attacks, crippling panic attacks is beyond what that is affecting your life. If panic attacks, I've learned, look different for everyone, and I have a couple different types of panic attacks personally, but one of them is literally my body locking up, and that is definitely a sign of a disorder. So I talk to my kids about like, do you feel nervous in front of talking in front of someone? Yes. And it's totally normal to feel those things, but there is kind of a line of what is normal for the situation. And the word normal is hard because that's kind of different for everyone. But if it's debilitating, changing you from, or stopping you from doing things in your life that you should be able to or want to be able to, that's when it becomes like probably a disorder.